we have a history in cinema like we have in everything else. We're a very old country. And about cinema, I think 100 years is really from Raja Harishchandra, and whether real cinema was happening then or when real cinema really began in India is anyone's guess. But I guess we are looking at a milestone here, and the important thing is that people are consciously thinking about cinema. The word cinema is very important currently because I think everything has been turned into entertainment. So focus needs to come back a little bit towards what it's really about. For me, it's a medium of expression and more than entertainment. Of course, there's a great history of cinema being equated with entertainment, and there's a lot of economic logic in it. At the same time, those barriers were broken about 50 years back. Um, and we have seen some really uh, intense cinema being produced in India back in the day. Between 1950s and 70s, we have seen great cinema happen. Uh, After which it has been sort of been taken over by the marketplace. And this is something that I believe very strongly to understand the why content is not viewed in a particular way by the marketplace, because we are a nascent marketplace, we are a new marketplace, and obviously it takes time for a new marketplace to evolve and acknowledge the different sorts of content that exists out there. So maybe through these kind of initiatives we will get closer to a discussion where the real truth will start to emerge. I mean, both has been tried out. Cinema as agent of change, what I talked about in the 70s, that's what we fall back upon constantly. That's our classic cinema period. That's a golden age of content in Indian terms, in this medium per se. Um, at the same time, we have seen the best and the worst of cinema being turned into entertainment. And currently, I think we passed both the phases. And what I am really interested in is to find the answer to this conundrum that marketability and aesthetics, or content and business, cannot really function together. I refuse to believe that it cannot. There are ways, but our economic policies, social policies sort of infringe us as artists to provoke any reaction whatsoever. Our republic does not allow us any provocation. So that makes it a trifle difficult. You can write something, but you cannot shoot it or show it on film, um, especially to things to do with deep sociology uh, or even politics, active politics. We can't say anything about anything, and this is a great. It's a very dangerous situation. It's a trap, and this is what I'm really concerned about. And my work sort of I try to motivate myself to sort of answer this question to myself, not for everyone else, but for myself. See, the demand, when does demand begin? Demand begins when there's information. Demand doesn't fall out of a tree. Information, restricted information, reduces demand. If for the last 30 years we have not seen in India the distribution of any good film internationally, not even one. So how do you think that the general population, or the youth, or anyone that you're referring to, where they would demand certain content, how will they demand it when they don't know that that exists? For them, all that exists is Shah Rukh Khan. So, I mean, how will they know? So therefore, I guess to answer your question, um, this was completely an experiment for us, and we were, I mean, me and my collaborators, we are a minority, and we operate from the edges of society. Our brush with the mainstream was through Gandu, and Gandu sort of proved the fact as much to us as everyone else, that there is an audience. There are people who are very, very keen, they're very interested in going beyond what is being offered to them. I think that's a key point that we have realized over the last 2, 3 years. Now is the question of how do we give them more information? How do they get more exposure? And how do we make more content that justifies that demand? But yes, the demand is there and now it's growing. I wouldn't have been a filmmaker if not for the internet. So I'm totally indebted to technology. Technology gave me the gave me the tools to actually go and become a filmmaker. Otherwise, a guy like me, coming from middle class Kolkata with absolutely no idea about film logistics, I couldn't even think when I was a kid that one day I could make films. Films were made by other people, people who knew a lot. And this meant that it was a highly elitist craft available to only those people who went to the elitist institutions. Technology changed all that, and I I now shoot only with, I mean, I have always shot on digital. I've been in advertising for a bit, so I've worked on film for a long time. But when I turned into an active filmmaker, I have been so far a digital filmmaker. And I really believe in the power of digital technology, the democracy that it allows, that no political democracy allows. Um, I really believe that there could be a sustainable model that could be found. At the same time, I also believe that the rules of the game have to completely shift. For instance, if I approach cinema from the classical angle, I would have never been able to make Gandu. Gandu was made with absolutely nothing, with a camera that you can find off the shelf, with no lights and no paraphernalia. It was completely stripped bare. It was the basics that we were dealing with, and it came out. I mean, we were surprised by the outcome. And now I think I'm far more confident about the abilities of technology for as far as we are concerned, our productions are concerned. But yes, it is definite. It has still a long way to go though. It is still a long way to go as far as distribution is concerned, sustainability is concerned, the economics are concerned. But surely the production logic and the information is finally free. It has always been so. I mean, we have always seen that, for the lack of a better word, what we used to know as parallel or meaningful cinema back in the day was sponsored by the state, funded for by the state, and they went to festivals. And then they were shown on national network if they won a national award. And that's about it. That was it. They didn't get the theatrical mileage that a normal C grade film gets. So, I mean, this is not. Um, I mean, my answer is yes. I mean, definitely. The international market and the international film festivals are the lifeblood of independent cinema. Without them, there wouldn't be any point, really. See, ultimately, we are still a democratic socialist republic, and so long that they don't change that name that our country has, I would still be hopeful. I would still be hopeful about policy change. I would still be hopeful about further further democratic rights to every citizen and every artist. So yes, and I don't, I mean, I keep referring back to this, that um, censorship is opposite to democracy. So you cannot have censorship within democracy. Democracy automatically means that it's a choice of the person. It's not your choice. Who is going to monitor society and why will you monitor that? Yes, always the answer will be we live in such a complex society that we have to protect so many interests. But really, how many interests have we really protected? How many violent mob attacks have happened because of cinema? How many people have been raped because they saw something provocative. No, I don't think so. I mean, the research says otherwise, and the truth really is that we are currently functioning by a law which was made by the British more than 100 years back, more before cinema came here. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous, really, because the kind of material that they have on British television or British films is, it makes us look really silly in the international arena. Having said that, I also feel very strongly that if a policy change has to be orchestrated, there are certain ways to go about it. So we did not release, we had the opportunity to release the film on the internet. We did not do that. Instead, we entered into a dialogue with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting and the Censor Department. And it was a 1 year long dialogue, at the end of which the film was leaked by someone else. Now, this proved our point of, and the way people accepted it really revealed our flaws, the real flaws in our censorship system. And a lot of other films can be cited, Gandu being one of the prime examples in recent times. So, Anand Patwardhan fights it off in court. I believe in spreading confusion. I would like to do things like this, which sort of makes the system feel weird as to how they will react to a situation like this, instead of, because they know how to take it to court, how to defend themselves. So it's a struggle, and more artists have to join this struggle against censorship, without which we can't go anywhere, really. It was Gandu, man. I mean, I'm quite clear about this. The moment I myself could take off that weight from my shoulders, that, you know, fuck this system and just go for it. Just do anything that you've seen. I have seen the films that I like, I love, which have made me a filmmaker, which inspire me, the filmmakers who inspire me. Can I really do something like them somewhere close by? I mean, with the present system of production, the present system of manipulation of imagery in India, you cannot do that. So if you liberate yourself from that, anything is possible. And that's what I felt, and that's what I still feel. And I know that as a pragmatic individual, I will not, I'm not, see, the age of unmitigated anarchy is over. That's not what we are talking about here. This is a very serious matter. We are talking about democratic rights for artists, which a censorship system infringes. So therefore, we need to be liberated from this. That does not mean that we will only make porn films. But the point is that why are you looking at something as derogatory when you know that out of 1 billion people, more than half is watching porn? Whether you like it or not, because they're repressed, you are not giving them anything. And sexuality is first need for the human being after he's fed and they have had water. That's the need. That's a basic need, and we are curbing a basic need of information. We don't know how sex happens. Indians don't have any sex education. There's a humongous gap that creates violence, that fosters, repression. And how is it that showing something, giving information, is anti that? I mean, which logic allows us to say this? I do not understand. I cannot understand, or I refuse to understand. It's just not done.